What will bring people to church? Is it having a cool venue, great acoustics, or a good-looking pastor? Does anyone wake up on a Sunday morning saying, I bet that church has good coffee. Let's go check it out. No, outsiders who do turn up on a Sunday are almost always there because someone brought them. We all have so many opportunities to share the good news with those around us. Think about all the different places where you interact with people just in the everyday course of life. We all have dozens and dozens of relationships, and each relationship is an opportunity for evangelism. But evangelism is hard. We all know that. Getting better at sharing our faith is first and foremost about our hearts, not our methods. This how-to is important, but the lack of want to is often the most obvious problem. 1 Peter 3:14-15 says, Have no fear of them, nor be troubled, but in your hearts honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. Notice the focus on the interior life of the Christian. When you honor Christ as holy in your heart, then outward interests and conversations will change. When you treasure Jesus deeply, you will share the hope within you freely. But how do we engage those in our context? And how shall we cultivate a heart for sharing the hope of Christ? Though Peter's context was different than ours, he gives us 3 timeless priorities for faithful witnesses everywhere. First, practical goodness. Our witness involves more than good deeds, but it definitely includes good deeds. When we live beautiful lives, that demonstrates the fruit of the gospel. Second, Christ-centered reverence. Redirect your fear. The fear of others can keep us from being faithful witnesses. Peter says we avoid this by revering Jesus more than people. Be awed by Christ. This is what keeps others in their proper perspective. Third, daily readiness. 2 key words in this passage are easy to miss. Always and anyone. Peter wants us to always be prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. In other words, be ready at all times to respond to every kind of person. There's much more to be said about doing evangelism, which I hope you'll discuss together. But before you do, I want to commend to you the practice of network evangelism. That is about living with gospel intentionality within the everyday rhythm of life. Take some time to think about your different networks. Write down some names. Then as you pray for those people, consider how you could bring the good news into each of their lives. You could start by inviting them over. Find ways of serving and blessing them. Think what resources you could give them, perhaps a book, a podcast, an article that could start a conversation. And look for points in which you can go deeper into your faith. After all, the gospel is too good and too important to be kept to ourselves. Why don't you pray before you begin this discussion?